At the base of this inscription is a drawing and a caption. And Sinai 115 is one of the inscriptions that Hebeded inscribed. The guy that I'm saying is he who was disfavored, Manasseh. And so in the years that he goes down there, he's usually always the one who is doing the inscribing, and he draws himself on a donkey, and there's a boy in front and a boy behind. So this is datable to year 18 of Amenemhat. The third that I'm saying is 1842 BC. When you blow this up and look at it, you can now see the hieroglyphs here. Well, when I saw this for the first time, two things popped out to me. First, this, and it looks like the shape of an hourglass, actually. The second hieroglyph from the top right, so the one to the left of the top right hieroglyph, that is not a hieroglyph, and I knew it right away. And this is not a hieroglyph, and I knew that right away. Everything else is hieroglyphic. But of course, Hebeded is an Asiatic. He's from the Levant. The Levant is ancient Canaan/Israel, Phoenicia, and Syria. He's from that place. So he's not a native Egyptian. And it's no surprise that he would be on a donkey, because donkeys were very important to the Asiatic culture. And of course, when Jacob and his sons came down into Egypt, what did they take with them? Donkeys. Which is exactly what we see in the burials at Avaris that are exactly at this stratum in time. We see burials of people, wealthy people, Asiatics, who I'm calling Hebrews, who had donkeys buried with them. They had donkeys, sheep, and goats in those burials. Now, obviously, the strange part of this is that we have two pictographs, and all these are pictures, right? So that we call them pictographs, the hieroglyphs, and the other two that are there. So this hourglass and this squared one, which are not hieroglyphic, I had to know what these were. So I consulted a man my father's age who is a Western Semiticist from Australia. And I asked him, what are these two strange things? And he said, well, the one on the right, the hourglass, he said that's an ingot, and that's a Canaanite syllabic. That basically means a syllable, consisting of a consonant and a vowel in Canaanite. And this one, the square one, on the first row, almost to the end, that is a proto-consonantal letter. That's part of the oldest alphabet. And I said, well, what's the oldest alphabet? And he said, well, let me tell you about it, because I'm one of the few people in that field. So over a course of months, he helped me catch up on 150 years of scholarship, because nobody's been able to crack or decipher what is the Semitic language of the Proto-Consonantal script. So the first thing I had to do is translate this inscription. So we start from right to left, because the animal here is facing to the right. So it reads from right to left, and then there's a second line on the left side, and then there's something right here. Now, there were several photos of Sinai 115's drawing and caption, including the one you saw in black and white, plus this one in color, and then one more in color, and this one doesn't have such a great focus. But with these photographs, I was able to use PowerPoint, magnifying up to 400%, and found, and where all the strokes were that are important to transcribing all of the letters or the pictographs and the images that were on this drawing and caption. There is one scholar, Gardner, a very good Egyptologist of the 20th century, who made his own drawing, and he translated this much right here. And he translated this as Ichenwi. Ichenwi is the Asiatic way to say Retchenu. Retchenu is the Egyptian way to say Asiatic. So this was an Asiatic calling himself an Asiatic. It's like if, when I lived in Russia, when I was in Moscow and I talked about the people there, I wouldn't call them Muscovites like you and I would call them. I called them Moskvichi, because that's how Russians speak. So this is a Semitic speaker writing in Semitic pronunciation of that name. These numbers here show that there were 6 of them. So it's 6 each, and 6 Levantine people, 6 people from the Levant. Gardner misses one hieroglyph here, but you can see it drawn here, and it's a mouth. that a man named Cherny recorded on his drawing when he published this article. So I also had the work of other scholars who drew this out to compare it with what I was finding on the inscription. So going back to the black and white drawing as a base, I made what you would call a composite drawing of Sinai 115's caption and drawing. And there it is. That's how I drew it in, with the orange colored areas being places where in none of the photographs was I able to find exactly where those strokes were, so I had to reconstruct them based on the rest of what was there. So you take away the photograph and this is what you have left, and now I could work with this. So I did.